According to a study done in 2016 by the Uganda Bureau of Statistics, unemployment among the youth is on the increase. In fact, unemployment is higher among educated youth. This basically means that if you have a bachelor's degree, you are more likely to be unemployed than a person who has no education or a little education. Additionally, the study points that it takes about 3 years for a graduate to get a job after university. In order to deal with this problem, a private member moved a bill, the National Graduate Scheme Bill, a bill that seeks to have placements for graduates in the private sector and in government as well. Government will be required to give a stipend in order for this graduate to stay doing this internship. Will this solve our big unemployment problem? This is Face the Citizens, and I'm your host, Iguma Gabriel. Welcome to the show. To have that discussion with us, we have from the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development. He is a skills development and employability specialist, Mr. Enoch Mutambi. Welcome. We also have right next to him the Honorable Matthias Mpuga. He is Masaka Municipality Member of Parliament, and he's the Shadow Minister for Education. Welcome, Honorable.
Thank you. Great being here.
And finally, the mover of the bill, Honorable Waira Majegere. He's MP for Bunia East. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And we have an audience of eager Ugandans who want to know what Parliament is doing for them, what the government is doing for them. And today, in a special way, in our audience, we have people living with disabilities because their voice is also very important on national issues. So we are glad to have them with us. And of course, you who is watching us at home by television, the show begins right now. Honorable Majegere, let's begin with you. This bill that you're moving, what problem are you seeking to resolve?
Yeah, thank you. And I'm very glad that you have given me this opportunity to have this platform so that we can reach as many people as possible. You know, the trend in Uganda, in most cases, political issues get more media attention than some of these key issues, but which are not political. As a member of parliament and a leader, normally when I move in my constituency, you go to greet your voter. The first thing you will say, come and you come out so that Majegere can know that you have been here for 4 years, seated here. That's the issue. Ida wano Majegere ategere nti okuva bwamala university oti aimewana. So it's not an isolated case. It is everywhere, not only my constituency, but all over Uganda. Graduates, somebody is graduating, and after graduation, somebody goes in the village and sits there 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 3 years. He walks on the street, they're asking for experience, and by the time you realize somebody is even above 30 years. Because like jobs they advertise these days, they say not beyond 30 years. But somebody has been on the street, he has passed even the 30 years, and now he cannot even compete.
And how exactly is a bill going to give a person skills to get a job?
Yeah, I'm coming. So now we have to look at how do we keep these graduates? How do we ensure that this young man's time is not wasted, or this young woman's time is not wasted? How do we ensure that the parent who has been selling his goat, his land, to make sure that his son or his daughter goes to school, does not regret that he is seated at home with his son or his daughter? So this bill intends to provide that working skills or employment training. It's you can call it employment training because after school, it's working as a bridge from the school life to the working world. Instead of somebody just diving direct to the working world, it will work as a bridge. We are saying that, you see, to educate a child, if a country is educating a child, it's not only for employment alone, but even for the economic development of the country.
All right.
We shouldn't just look at the employment, but even the economic development. How is this resource being utilized?
Majority of the courses at the university require that a student undergoes internship, compulsory internship. How different is this from that?
It is quite different because this internship is 3 months, I think, 2 months. Very short. It is very short. It doesn't have a standard formula. There is no monitoring mechanism, follow-up mechanism that this student got internship and he has gained this and actually is here. So it's not a matter of a country just educating graduates and leaving them in the village without making a follow-up. I've had a chance to move to other countries. Other countries, they make a follow-up from the university. They ensure that they make a follow-up at that batch which has gone out. The last person,
okay,
to the last person should be engaged.
Okay.
They have to make sure, and they have that mechanism, that the last person of that batch, let's say 2016, is engaged.
All right. Honorable Majegere, very quickly, how exactly do you propose that it works? What will the ABC of this, scheme be?
Yeah, the scheme entails that once a graduate has graduated, is placed into whether public or private entity. And in this entity, we believe this young man will be, first of all, is engaged, exposure is gained, is getting a network, and even that the skills, the working skills, is getting them. So that, because we believe that if somebody is engaged, somehow you'll find his way.
Okay.
Than this person sitting in the village, in Mayuge,
all right,
down there on the lake side, 1 year, 2 years, and he's a graduate.
So the person is engaged?
Is engaged, and we believe we don't look at a salary, but like you say, the stipend, something small to make this young man keep on moving.
A stipend of how much?
That one we cannot determine it right now.
Are there proposals in the bill of how much?
No, we have not proposed that. You see, mine is a private member's bill. First of all, I have to tell you that mine is a private member's bill, and a private member's bill, however good it is, you don't have to indicate issues of money.
All right.
So tactfully, we didn't put it there because it wouldn't.
Okay.
It wouldn't pass the test. So we kept it inside there. Tactfully, we hid it, but it's now on the committee of gender. So now in this committee, I've already suggested all these ideas which can sustain and make this scheme moving.
All right. Mr. Mutambi, for starters, what's the ministry doing about people that are graduating and have no employment? Because when we see proposals like the one of Honorable Majegere, it's easy to conclude that the ministry is not doing anything.
Thank you. The ministry is already doing a number of things for the graduates who are completing and actually do not have jobs. And as rightly stated, the graduate unemployment situation is really very, very, very bad. And the ministry has already taken a number of steps. One of the steps actually is in line with Honorable Majegere's bill. We have, in conjunction with UNDP, established what we call the Uganda Graduate Volunteers Scheme. Now, this volunteers scheme has already started, and what we are looking at is that every year, for the next 3 years, we'll be recruiting and placing 500 graduates. Now, by graduates here, we mean from degree level to diploma and certificate. We are not only looking at the degree people, we are looking at the degree, the diploma, and certificate. So for a pilot, we are beginning with 500 every year. So far, 97 people have been placed this year from January, and by June 30th, we expect to recruit more so that we have our quota for 500 for this year.
All right, so 500 is the target for each year.
For each year for
and
the next 3 years.
This is out of how many graduates in a year? Because universities churn out about 400,000.
Yes.
This is 350,000 left out there.
I agree. Everything has a beginning. Actually, statistics show that about 130,000 graduate every year for the certificate, diploma, and degrees. So 500 out of that, is really a very, very, very small fraction. But everything must have a beginning. We are saying we are piloting and we want to see how it works. And then from there, we will be moving up and up.
Okay.
Now, we are actually looking at a target of 500 people to be placed in employment each year as we move on.
Okay. All right. You mentioned that in partnership with UNDP. So basically, it is the donors who are doing this, which also points at this not being a priority for government.
It is a priority for government.
But you've leased it out to donors to take care of?
No. The Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development developed from 2016, developed what we call green jobs. Now, what are these green jobs? We are looking at jobs that will help restore the environment, but at the same time, that will help to improve the skills, but at the same time, help for the health, the occupational health of the workers. Now, there are so many interventions, 7 interventions, and one of the interventions is the graduate volunteer scheme. Now, while we are still moving forward to finalize the formalities of establishing and formalizing all these interventions, UNDP said, I can pick on this and help. And then we said, fine. But as a government, I want to assure you that from July, the government is also putting in its money. So that the number is likely to rise to 1,500 funded by UNDP and 500 funded by the government.
All right. That's very good news. I hope we can hold the ministry accountable when that time comes. Honorable Mpuga, as the Shadow Minister for Education, one of the things you definitely do is oversee, issues of education. And the criticism has been that many of these people are not getting employed because they don't really have a skill to offer. A person doesn't want to employ you to come and do nothing or to start to learn. Are there mechanisms to fix that problem first?
Well, Gabriel, between the preamble of the Honorable Majegere and his submission, you have an answer. First of all, tactfully, the Honorable Majegere says you give a lot of time to political matters and relegate these other matters to peripheral time. Can I state from the onset that these matters of employment are serious political matters that even change governments? So we are discussing serious politics of our younger people because their well-being is about education and jobs. So an attempt to try and find a solution to unemployment is actually solving a very critical political question. So from the beginning, I want to invite my colleague to see this as a very serious political question that must be answered unequivocally and the proper answers found. 2, between his submission and his response, he talks about the scheme in general terms. He's proposing a voluntary scheme. So the question of the day is, between the 2 propositions, is this compulsory or voluntary? Because I do not know any of these young people here and out who voluntarily chooses to be unemployed. And this is where leadership must come into a position to direct the country on how to help our younger people. The whole idea, as proposed by Honorable Majegere, is beautiful because when I was studying economics in graduate school, we did a lot of labor economics. And we discovered that the biggest cause of unemployment, actually the biggest, is lack of information. That's the biggest cause of unemployment. I will tell you that out there, even in Uganda, there are so many employers that are looking for certain skills and features from potential employees. But the potential employees are hunting, and the potential employer is also hunting, and the two cannot find each other. So the best form of creating a natural link is this kind of graduate, service scheme, in whatever form.
Okay.
And for me, where we need to really bring the two in tandem is to make it compulsory, so that the numbers notwithstanding, some say 400, others are saying 130, whichever the number, are we able to bring these younger men and women in a setting that can lead them to a job, whether after 2 or 3 years? One, in doing this service, they'll be enhancing their employability. They'll be gaining confidence. They'll be getting community skills. They'll be getting employable skills. So we really need to help them to get there. For me, we need to process the bill as proposed by Honorable Majegere to really sieve out the key issues. One of them is whether it should be voluntary or compulsory. 2, whether it should be paid or non-paid.
Okay.
So for me, these are the issues that need to sort out. Otherwise, the whole idea as proposed is beautiful. The arrangement of the ministry is actually in defiance of statistics in all forms.
Okay. Let's go for a break. When we come back from the break, this discussion continues, and also we hear from our audience. Let's go for a break. Welcome back from the break. Thank you for staying with us here on Face the Citizens. I'm your host, Iguma Gabriel, and today we are looking at the National Graduate Scheme. It is a bill being proposed by a member of Parliament who we actually have on the panel today, and this bill is basically trying to solve the issue of unemployment amongst youth, especially those that have been to university. In fact, Honorable, what of people who haven't been to university? Because it's not only people with graduate degrees that are unemployed.
Yeah, you see, when I brought this idea, I brought it in 2016. So all that time we have been discussing it, and so many issues have been coming in. And we said, if we begin with a bigger, because if you look at a certificate, diploma, degree, and remember it's only a private member who is bringing a bill, it's not a government, it would be a bit cumbersome. So we said, okay, let's first go with the degree holders, and we see how it moves. But we have had the challenges that I interacted with my friend from Ministry of Gender. He says he's just a new officer there, so he doesn't know the background very well. But the Ministry of Gender has been fighting this bill from the word go. But
Why?
what they are proposing is that volunteer graduate scheme.
So why is
exactly my idea. And regardless of where the money is coming from, you need to have a legal framework. If there is no legal framework, then it's likely to be abused as much as possible.
But shouldn't you also be happy that the ministry is taking up your idea?
No, but they should take it officially.
Officially. So that they give you credit.
Yes, they should take it officially. They come on the floor of Parliament and say, you know, this idea is good, but thank you, Honorable Majegere, but we are taking it out.
But that's
Okay.
not
But
correct. That's not correct.
All right.
yeah, no, it's okay.
Mr. Mutambi has something to...
So we have had those challenges. And actually, the Minister of Gender has been playing hide and seek for all that time.
All right.
And you remember, you see, we are supposed to have a certificate of financial implication, but we didn't have it. We didn't get it. But just because we had the support of the Speaker said, okay, since the law is very clear that after 60 days, if the Minister has not given you the certificate of financial implication, you can go ahead, you proceed. So we just use that clause in our laws. Okay. Otherwise, the Minister of Finance was also playing hide and seek.
All right.
And I thought it was maybe the influence of the Minister
of Gender.
Of gender.
All right, we're going to get a response from media. Okay, Mr. Mutambi, you can respond.
Because even before Mr. Mutambi comes in.
But let's hear from him, because you've raised something key. Yes, sir.
Thank you so much, Mr. Moderator. It is not true that the ministry responsible for labor has been opposing this bill. In fact, the ministry is happy about this bill, and as he said, it's now in the committee of gender, and at an appropriate time, our minister is going to appear in the committee, and we are going to look at that bill, and then we support it. We are going to
but it sounds good, and he's happy, but for me, there's a huge challenge. This bill started in 2016, it came back in 2018, and the ministry is saying we are going to look at it. If the ministry was interested by now, you'd know what's in the bill.
About what I meant is there are those formal procedures. It has to come back to the committee, and then from the committee, our minister is invited. And then when I talk of looking at it, it doesn't necessarily mean that we've not seen this bill.
Okay.
It has been everywhere.
All right. Honorable Mpuga, with the whole issue of the ministries fighting it, certificate of financial implications, how can we ensure that this bill actually goes through so that the graduates who don't have jobs can benefit from this initiative?
First of all, the law is on the Honorable Majegere's side. Whether the ministry continues slumbering away, we can process the bill if the Honorable pursues it through the normal procedures of Parliament. Our rules are very clear now. If the ministry is not supportive and they have no logical conclusion to the matter, we can still process it with or without their certificate. I don't think there's anybody really serious that would oppose this bill. We can only discuss the modalities of the bill and the integrities, but all of us are equally concerned that we cannot channel our young people using the means that are around us. And one way of solving the problem, temporarily, for the time being, to create some form of comfort and a stopgap measure is to promote this bill, because the alternative is worse.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and if the ministry doesn't give a certificate of financial implications, doesn't this mean that even if the bill is paid, government will not be able to commit money?
No, certainly if the bill is processed successfully, Parliament has powers to vote money for this activity. So there's no way the Ministry of Finance or the Ministry of Gender would think otherwise. As long as the bill is processed and assented to, even at assent, if the President does not assent to a bill over time prescribed, Parliament will go ahead and make it into law. The laws are very clear. There's nobody now with overriding powers.
Are you saying now that
Yes.
Parliament is ready to go the whole way, whether government is in support or not?
Actually, between the bill and its processing is the Committee for Gender. The committee is standing between the dreams of our young people and his initiative. So we need to push the Committee for Gender, process it, invite whoever they think is a key stakeholder to make their input, and we have the bill processed.
All right.
It's a beautiful thing. We shall support it.
All right, let's take questions from the audience and find out what they think about this bill and any questions in relation. I have a gentleman in an African shirt. Sir, your name, question, or comment?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. My name is Loch Jerry Kidega from Chambogo University, a student of science in IT. My whole comment to this situation is we don't have to look at the better side of this bill. We have to look at the root cause of unemployment in this country. And according to me, I have two issues I would like our honorables to address. Number one of the most leading issues is segregation and tribalism at workplaces. It's one of the major causes of unemployment in this country. Then number two, the government is introducing irrelevant courses in universities so that they can benefit, because there are courses you do but you will not get employment in this country.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your comments.
My name is Bukare Dane, the Speaker of the Independent Youth Forum. I would like to ask Honorable Majegere that does this really bill address the minimum wage? And if we are talking about volunteering, apparently Chambogo, people who graduated last year, they were 7,000, and you are talking of the ministry is addressing 500 people. Really, I don't think, and how best will really this bill be in position to address human trafficking, because they are our brothers who graduate immediately and they go to the Middle East to look for jobs there. So how shall it be in position to address this? Thank you.
I really want to commend the minister, Honorable Majegere.
Yes.
Soon, very soon.
They have promoted you to minister.
Very soon.
Yes, Aisha, go ahead.
Okay, what he's presenting to us really deserves credit, but just to criticize a little, when you talk about the 500 target, really, that is so low. And maybe if it is so low and they are just looking at it to see how it will go, what is going to be done to those other hundreds of people who won't be taking on the program?
Okay.
And then also my question is, how about if we first revised the system itself and see the loopholes and really cater about the compulsory internship and all the other programs that are being put in place that are not helping the students cope up?
All right. Let's get responses to those questions. But just to correct, the 500 is an initiative that the ministry is running. That is the graduate volunteer scheme. All right, let's respond. Let's start with you, sir.
Thank you so much. Let me start with the question that has just come up from Aisha. Now, I explained that 500 is UNDP funded. It is ongoing. It has already started. Come July, government will add on another 500. That makes 1,000. But of course, that is not enough. Government is looking at many other measures of handling the unemployment problem. Because the graduate volunteer scheme cannot be enough to handle the unemployment problem. One of the other key measures that is coming up also beginning July is related to the volunteer scheme. It is the apprenticeship scheme. This is whereby people who have skills are deployed or placed alongside experienced workers. And the difference here between the volunteer and the apprentice means that you have the skill in that area. And it means that you are going to work alongside a senior employee who will coach you and train you so that you gain skill and pursue that career that you have already selected. Right. Volunteer may be an area different from the career that you want to take. So the apprenticeship scheme is also going to be beginning. Right. And this apprenticeship scheme is for both graduates and non-graduates. Because earlier on somebody mentioned that there are many people who have not gone to school, but they also need jobs. And many of these, some of them actually have skills. Many people in Katwe, in the mechanics we use, have not gone to school. They have mechanical skills, but they cannot be absorbed in the formal sector. So what we are saying with the apprenticeship is that these people can be deployed in formal organizations, work alongside people who are skilled. They do an assessment, and at the end of it all, they get accredited. All right. With an apprenticeship certificate to enable them join. There are so many other interventions that are proposed and are going, we hope it is going to make a big difference. All right. Honorable Mpuga, somebody raised a question on the issue of tribalism. You may have a good intervention like this, but people only decide to take people from their region, from their tribe, and we just continue unemployment just for particular segments.
Yeah, which is why it's very imperative to discuss the nitty-gritty of the Honorable Majegere bill and what it entails. For example, if I were to propose an amendment to the bill, I would, for example, suggest that it becomes compulsory for everyone. As long as one is in college, doing a certificate, diploma, or degree, it becomes compulsory for these younger people. Because despite the fact that the economy is narrow, a well-thought about framework can absorb everyone. And if it becomes compulsory, we can then put up stages at which somebody can start being paid a stipend of some sort. So that somebody over time, if you retain this young man or woman over time, it automatically becomes your employee. If you don't need me, then you must release me at the end of a prescribed time. So it becomes essentially compulsory that you must take me whether I look nice or not, whether I belong to your clan or not, as long as you are listed among the possible employers, private or public. Of course, the concern of Mr. Chidega is legitimate, that the ugly head of tribalism rears head every time public matters are presented. And it's our duty, all of us, leaders and the led, to make sure that it does not eat away the fabric of a society, and to give a fair playing ground for the younger people to be able to exhibit and showcase their skills and earn their due bread from the taxpayer, because all of us, all of them deserve that. So It's a duty of leaders to change the culture and also cultivate a culture of a fair playing field for everyone. Yeah. All right.
We're going to take a break right now. When we come back from the break, Honorable Majegere will respond first, and then we'll take more questions. Let's go for a break. Welcome back from the break. Thank you very much for staying with us here on Face the Citizens. I'm your host, Iguma Gabriel, with Mr. Enoch Mutambi, Skills Development and Employability Specialist from the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development, Honorable Matthias Mpuga, Masaka Municipality Member of Parliament, and also Shadow Minister for Education, and the Honorable Waira Majegere, MP Bunya East, who is moving a bill to ensure that Uganda's graduates are actually placed in places where they can get skills and therefore become more employable. Before we went for the break, the Ugandans that are seated in the audience asked some questions. Honorable Majegere, if you could respond to what you were asked.
Yeah, thank you. I begin with Derek. He's talking of segregation and tribalism. And that's why we want the law, because it's the law which will be able to guide so that there is no segregation, there is no tribalism. And this law, the National Graduate Scheme Bill, is a small one. For you who are youth, you can get it and read it, because all those issues, and we are still discussing it. Remember, it is in the committee. They are going to invite more stakeholders. If you are also a group who is interested in putting in or having an input, you can also write to Parliament and you come and put in your input. But that is after reading. Remember, somebody talked of information being, I think it was Honorable Mpuga. He said the information is key, is a key resource. So you read the bill, you'll get to know. Irrelevant courses, okay, I don't think there is irrelevant courses. You know, these courses, it's a matter of getting knowledge. What is important is to get the basic knowledge, which can keep you move around the world so that you don't get stuck. Yes. And then you get the skills, these working skills we are talking about. Yeah, we have people, somebody studied the Arabic, but is doing human resource, is a human resource manager, and is doing very well. It's a matter of getting the working skills. Not that specifically that this is irrelevant, this is relevant. Okay, there are those which are technical, which are specific to that particular field, but there are those which require knowledge so that you can be able to survive in the world.
All right.
Minimum wage, this one is not for minimum wage. There is a bill for minimum wage. I think it was even passed.
It was passed, yes.
It was passed. But for us, we are looking at $100.
Almost 400,000.
As
a stipend, right?
Yeah, Mr. from the Minister of Gender, I think he has to tell us what the volunteer now is getting, but I hear it is 1.5. Which would be too high.
Well, let's find out. How much is a volunteer getting under the scheme you told us about?
Now, under the scheme that is ongoing, a volunteer gets 800,000. But that is UNDP funded. So we will go into the details of seeing how much for the Ugandan program, how much will be suitable.
Is that going to cause a problem? Those who are funded under UNDP 800, those funded under Uganda 200,000, surely
but
who will want to be under the one funded by the government?
But look, even in Uganda now, there are MPs who earn how much they earn. There are people working with UN, they earn whatever they earn.
Yes, but this will still be the same program. It's just that the part that you're in is funded by UNDP, because you're not saying it's another program. It's the same program.
This is my thinking.
A hard clap, you people. And you see, that's why we need the what?
Yes.
That's why we need a law.
Yes.
This is my thinking. The one funded by UNDP is a pilot and is going to phase out. In 3 years, it is phasing out. Thereafter, the one that will be ongoing will be the Ugandan one, the one that is starting, and the one that is going to be supported by the law that has been proposed.
What's the duration of the one you're handling?
Yes, the current one. How long is it?
3 years.
3 years.
One intern for 3 years.
The intern, the intern is for a year.
Okay, but the program is 3 years.
But the program is
and
for
how long
3
has
years.
it been on so far?
It started in January this year.
Started in January this year. So
Yes.
practically 2.5 years. More than 2.5 years
Yes.
to go. Honorable,
So-
Mpuga, yeah, very quickly, because let's take more questions.
So you have heard that there is 800, and you see there are people who are getting salary, which is around 300, 500, and they are public servants. So we need to, it is the law which can remove all those discrepancies.
Yes.
Now, on the statistics of graduates, like one colleague has said, Chambog has just graduated 7,000. Right now, nobody has the clear statistics of graduates in Uganda per year. Whether you go where nobody, not even the National Council for Higher Education. It's because, but when you have this scheme, we shall have the records. We shall have the records at hand. Others are talking of 400,000, 500,000 graduates.
130,000.
But yeah, but for me, I've been doing this research. But we didn't have all graduates from all universities. But we are just basing on Makerere University because Makerere University has around between 13 to 14,000 per year. And Makerere University is the biggest. Is the biggest university with a bigger number. So we would use that to gauge. So if Makerere has got 14,000, then the next maybe is Chambogo. It has 7,000. What are the others? So it means you cannot have more than 50,000 graduates per year in Uganda per year. But now we have 500,000, 400,000. So even the statistics we don't have. It is this scheme which will give us the correct data of statistics.
Let's take more questions. And the hands seem to have increased. I have a lady in white.
Thank you very much, moderator. My name is Lydia Kerirunji, Chair Lady Pearl Hall of Residence, Chambogo University. I pursue a bachelor's degree in development studies year 2. I'm thinking, yes, thanks to the MPs and Mr. Mutambi for the work you're doing, but people, let's not blame these people here. Because even us are to be blamed, our parents and the internship places. Because as the students, first of all, some students go to the university and all they do is read books, sleep, and go to the lecture rooms. Instead of using that time, to become leaders or to get the connections, so that they, at the end of the day, they can get the jobs. That's the truth. You find someone with a first class and they're unemployed. Yeah?
All right.
Why?
Okay. Thank you for your comment.
My name is Wagaya Umaru.
Yes, Umar.
Student Makerere University, doing Bachelor of Arts in Economics. First of all, I will first thank the bill which was inserted by Honorable, and it is really great. But now my question is, like, it seems that puts the cause of unemployment, especially to lack of experience and the working skills. I don't know whether they tested it to see it that really it causes unemployment. I can't tell. Leaving other factors like the brother said, tribalism, and many others. Then some other thing is, in very many organizations, yes, they are looking for people who have skills and experience, who are well developed, that can earn or add value to the organization.
All right.
But now they always recruit internally. I don't know, what have you put in place to ensure that your program is done? Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I'm Brian Mukiwa, student pursuing guidance and counseling. In Uganda, we have some people with disability like me, cerebral palsy section. We do have organizations that support us in Uganda, such as Mdipu, coming up with affirmative action, which is helping us to go to government scholarship. And to my concern, it is some of us we lack information in schools. There are very many people who are disabilities and lack education, and without their parents' facilitations, and they're filling up to give the tuition to their parents. So it is come to my mind, me and you, to fight for disabilities.
All right.
In Uganda.
All right.
So, and and the issue of getting jobs. First, we disabilities, we people with disabilities, we have a lot of challenges. For example, me, I'm a photographer. I have some skills, photographer, but I find myself being outside in the field, so good stigmas
Okay.
by the people that are being not informed that,
All right.
that disability is not inability.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comment. And we should respond to that actually. What unique programs do we have for people with disabilities? And does your bill take care of that?
Yeah, our bill, because the normal people we put an age limit. It is 30 and below. But for disability, there is no that age limit in the bill. But still, it is still open for discussion. Either NUDIPU, if you want, we can invite them. They come and have some input in that bill. But that's what you had suggested.
All right.
Yeah.
Honorable, do we have to wait for NUDIPU to make us remember that we have people with disabilities whose needs are unique?
No, actually, even last week, there is a disability bill which was passed.
Okay.
It was passed. I don't know whether it is, because I've not been around, I don't know whether they are still discussing it, but it's on the floor of Parliament. I think it was passed.
Honorable
So
Mpuga.
I believe that most of those issues were...
No, critically, one of the key deliverables of the education system and NDP2 is to cater for equity. And equity takes into consideration cases of disability at all levels. And just like he stated, to mainstream gender and all other forms of discrimination that could arise and offer them a platform in form of affirmative action. I believe that if our education system were to be equitable, it should be able to sieve and take care of these special circumstances and offer a raised platform to enable them to compete.
Okay.
Apparently, I have not seen that into his proposed bill. Perhaps the Ministry of Gender is in good stead to address these key peculiarities and mainstream them in all the bills that come, which is why the Majegere bill is supposed to be their bill. But for, of course, their slowness and laggardiness, they haven't moved on it. Perhaps they should have addressed such issues and propped up or even amended this bill to take care of these key inequities.
All right.
Yeah.
Mr. Mutambi?
Thank you so much. I would like to once again say there are those processes and procedures in Parliament. So from the Parliamentary Committee, we will come in.
Right.
But back to the question of the disabilities. The current program which is going on takes into consideration that 10% of the beneficiaries are people with disabilities.
All right.
It also takes
The other
into
part of this-
consideration the issues of gender.
Okay.
50-50.
The other part of
There
his
is another
question
issue
was-
which came earlier.
Just
the
a
issue of
second.
regions. Yes,
Just
please.
a second. Part
Yes.
of his question was on the information, because yes, it is good for there to be a bill that says 30% people with disabilities, but if they do not know, how are they going to benefit from it?
So the other part is that 10%, but the question is 10% of how many? The others are for who? Because the question of the day, of the graduates that come out, how many of them, what percentage is of disabled? How many of them for you to say 10%? Where are you sending the others?
I think, I beg your pardon?
No, I'm going to say, you're saying
Yes.
10% must be take care
People
of
with
disability.
ability,
So
yes.
what if the disabled are 20% of the graduates? Where should
So where
the
do
10
the
go?
rest go?
Now, those are issues that normally come as you implement, and then you go back to the drawing board.
All right. Gentlemen,
She talked about there is a key issue.
Very quickly,
Somebody,
because we're
Umar,
actually already out of time.
Umar asked about the experience. This scheme addresses the issue of experience because they normally ask you for experience, and when you look around the entire Uganda, there is no school for experience. So this scheme addresses that. We are saying that once somebody has served or has been deployed into an entity and he has served those 12 months, then he has already acquired the required what? Experience. And in this case, he's going to be given a certificate. The minister is going to provide or to give a certificate of service. It is in this bill.
All right.
To show that this younger man or this younger woman, you don't need to ask for experience because he has already had what? The experience. So
All
that
right.
one is covered.
All right. Honorable Majegere, Honorable Matthias Mpuga, and Mr. Mutambi from the Ministry of Gender, thank you very much for having this discussion with us. We're out of time, so we have to leave it here. But the graduate scheme bill is before Parliament. Make sure that your voice is heard on this bill so that at the end of the day, the graduates of Uganda can benefit from this initiative. Thank you for being a part of Face the Citizens. Until next time, good night. God bless you.